So does everybody like the unsightly bandage on my face? Yes. Yes. As part of the comedy, I want to do an impression of Rocky Balboa, and I can't really do impressions, so to do some method acting, I had Carl Weathers beat the crap out of me. And it didn't work too well because I still can't do the voice. It was not a very thought out plan, but you know, I gotta tell you, Carl Weathers, 65 years old, he's still got it. Hell of a nice guy, too. So, as you probably noticed just now, I'm not a comedian. I prefer to think of myself as an amateur satirist. I guess they're thinkers. You're probably not going to get anything in this set until like sometime tomorrow morning. You'll most likely like be sitting in hot seat and go, oh, now I get it. That's what he meant. I wish I hadn't booed him. He was so sad when he cried. I'm kidding, I don't cry. I've been living in New York City for 16 years. I'm dead inside. So I am... We had a lot of copies so far. I'm actually a traffic manager, which means nobody knows what the hell I do. I put it out to a few people. I kind of polled people to see what do you think a traffic manager does. So these are a few of the responses that I got. You guide airplanes onto ramps and gates. Everyone's a smartass, thank you very much. You work crowd control at punk rock concerts. Not on purpose, but sometimes, but not here, And my personal favorite, although this might be a dated reference, you handle Steve Winwood's old band. Oh, jeez. I'm not that old. And yeah, so like those are guesses from people outside of pharma. From people inside pharma, some of the answers that I got were, you sit on your ass all day and complain about everybody else on your team, especially the fucking copywriters. Is that language okay? I can say copywriters? So, as far as what that person said, complaining about my team and sitting on my ass all day, that's not true. Sometimes I'm walking in and standing up when I say that. And the final answer I got was, you bug people when they're busy on Facebook. And that's not the grand prize answer, but that's definitely a best in show. That would get you third place and maybe $50 and a few beers from me at the bar down the street. So, I've been working in pharma for about 7 years. I've worked on a lot of drugs in that time. I've worked on Emerald, worked on Ambien for a little while, and that was good because that's the only time that I've ever actually worked in a drug that I actually use, and it works really well for me. If you ever want to have a really good laugh, take an Ambien, and before you actually go to bed, wait about half an hour, and then sit down at the computer and record yourself, and then go back the next morning and look at what the hell you talked about. Because I had thought that I had said something incredibly deep and profound and insightful that I could use in one of my literary endeavors, and it turned out that I talked about Jackie Chan movies and my keychain for half an hour. So I spent many years working on Crestor. And I don't know if you remember the big Crestor commercial about 5 years ago. It was Mandy Patinkin walking down the spiral staircase. And I'm very proud to say that I had absolutely nothing to do with that ad. That is not the best written ad. And okay, here's the one impression that I do. It's Mandy Patinkin going, with exercise and diet, Crestor can lower your cholesterol by up to 52%. That's more than half. I know how much. Thanks for the tip, Indigo. More than half, are you sure? You want to annotate and fact check that claim? I have a reference, it's my niece's Now I Know My 1, 2, 3's book, she's 5. I used to work on a bunch of opiate painkiller drugs, and the thing I enjoyed about that was when I first started working on them, I noticed that a lot of public service announcements announcing the horrors of prescription medication started appearing on television. And I don't know what this says about me, but I started watching these commercials and hoping for the drugs that I worked on to be mentioned. Because I'd see one that said, Mary is stealing her mother's codeine, Timmy is stealing his daddy's Percocet, Alphonse is stealing grandma's Opana. Opana, that's my drug! Yes! We got a shout out! There's no such thing as bad press, right? And if Alphonse is going through the trouble of stealing that shit, you know it's gotta fucking work. If there's any creatives here who work on painkillers, feel free to use that. So when I saw a PSA about the horrors of crystal meth, I'd see a guy like emaciated, his teeth falling out, crying in the gutter. I'd be like, I give a shit. What the fuck does that do for me? I've always said that people would be a lot happier, the whole world would be a lot happier if they realized that it revolved around me. Do you think crystal meth would sell as well if it came with a PI? That's what I imagine it would look like. Do you know who my favorite drug addict is? Rod Stewart's son. I'm pretty sure that's his legal name, Rod Stewart's son. He uses three names like I do. He's a reality television star, and let me just stop there for a second. There's very few phrases that depress me more and cause me to lose faith in humanity than the phrase reality television star. It's up there. It's somewhere between Nazi fascism and celebrity gossip journalism. It's probably a little closer to celebrity gossip journalism, but who's to say? So I was watching Rod Stewart's son, again that's his name, Rod Stewart's son on Celebrity Rehab with Gary Busey, and they're about to watch Gary Busey's movie, The Buddy Holly Story. And so Gary Busey's son says, "What's it about?" Because the name The Buddy Holly Story didn't tip him off. Yeah, it's about dinosaurs. What the fuck do you think it's about? So they told him it's about Buddy Holly, and he said, "Who's Buddy Holly?" He ran for president. Yeah, it didn't go so well. Well, in defense of Rod Stewart's son, I know Buddy Holly's been dead over 50 years, so I can understand, I can be a little sympathetic towards people of the younger generation not knowing who he is. It was really the whole "what's it about" thing that really bothered me, because I have a real big, I used to be okay with it. When I was young and an angry rebel, stupidity really bothered me. I couldn't stand stupid people. And then when I grew up, I got older, I matured, I came to become more tolerant. And then as time went on, I became older and angrier and more bitter, and the bitter piled on with things like life and the world and everything. So my ability to tolerate stupidity just went away. And I think that bitter anger is a lot worse than rebellious anger, because bitter anger, that doesn't go away. And I'm talking about, as far as stupidity, I'm not talking about stupidity on the grand scale, Fox News. I'm talking about things that, little things, Like besides Rod Stewart's son, I was watching this game show, and it was a couples game show. There was, this couple, the question to them was, they had to bet their money against the question, at McDonald's, what came first, the Egg McMuffin or the filet of fish? And so the husband, who apparently is such a huge genius, who gets to be on TV and possibly win thousands and thousands of dollars while I'm sitting home alone, like I'm cooking dinner for one on a Foreman grill. He turns to his wife and he goes, "Okay, so I know when McDonald's first started, they had burgers, right?" I died inside. My IQ just dropped 40 points just thinking about that guy. Yes, they had burgers. And Taco Bell has tacos, and Kentucky Fried Chicken had, I can't even finish the rest of that line. I'm just so depressed, I can't even remember my goddamn name. I seem to have gone off topic. Let's get back to pharma. I have one last thing about pharma that I'd like to say. When I first came over to CDMNY from CDMI, the first drug that I worked on was Viagra. Woo! And yes, and here at CDM, hey Lauren.
MSG.
Hey. First, here at CDM, we're adults, we're professionals. We approach everything from a clinical standpoint. Even erectile dysfunction. You go to the outside world and you tell people that you work on Viagra. They laugh, they snicker, they make jokes, and they're like, "Hey, is it a hard account? Is it a big account? You got some stiff competition?" Oh, you're so funny. This comic genius, get away from me, Rod Stewart's son. But here at CDM, we're grown up. We don't laugh and snicker at these sort of things. So I'm gonna tell you about the one time that we were not mature. So we were doing a hot sheet one day, and we were talking about a project called the Hardness Leave Behinds. Now, hardness means exactly what you think it means. And the step that it was going through that day was it was due to be reviewed in RC that morning. So I'm the traffic manager, I'm going through the projects, I go, okay, hardness leave behind, this is due to be reviewed in RC today. And my copywriter said, the review happened this morning, we didn't get through the whole thing, so we had to have another review, and it's going to happen next time. My account person said, let me just stop you right there. because you got something in your hair and it's been driving me crazy. And he kind of swipes at his head, and you're like, oh, did I get it? No. Did I get it? No, it's still there. And the thing is kind of stuck on his hair. And so my editor said, is that product in your hair? So I go, is that hair gel? So like everybody gets like something about Mary reference, and and we have a laugh, and I wait for the laughter to die down, and then I say, okay. So moving on, okay, on to the next project, and my account person said, wait, we haven't talked about hardness. And I said, no, I thought we just did. And with that, I leave you. All right.